12 best teams from around the world are randomly seeded into 4 groups, 3 teams in each. There may not be more than 1 team from each region in the same group. All teams then play a best-of-9 match against all other teams in their group. The top 2 teams will proceed to the playoff stage. The format of the battles is the same as the team battle mode. A match consists of 9 battles on 2 maps using attack-defense rules. This means each team attacks and defends twice on each map. First team to 5 points wins, but if the score is tied 4-4 at the end of the 2 maps, a tiebreaker battle will be played on a new map. The 8 teams that got out of the group stage continue the tournament in Olympic playoff fashion. 1 defeat, and the team is knocked out of the tournament. The best 2 teams will reach the finals. The winner becomes the Wargaming.net League World Champion.
Thank you, Luke. He'll be hosting the Newbie Desk along with Cricky Baby and Jingles. There's multiple streams that are happening for the different games going on today and tomorrow. Looking forward to crowning a champion, the #1 team taking home $150,000, and a lot of storylines that are happening for all these different groups. Let's go ahead and take a look at the groups and talk about some of these different teams and the major storylines happening this weekend. First of all, Group A, School Bus, dominating team coming from Europe, along with Yato Gaming and Roulette, hailing from America. Yato joining us from China. School Bus looked fantastic a couple months ago at the Rumble in the West.
Yeah, School Bus has won 2 out of the last 3 events. They've gone lots of roster changes. You have 2 of the core members remaining right now, 3, sorry. And since season 5, where they came second in a close match against Kazna, they have practiced a lot and they've got 3 new members. They've gotten 2 from GGVP, Griffon and Dynamo, and 1 from Virtus Pro, Vorstick. With this lineup and the correct amount of training, they could be really successful in this event.
Group A is going to be a little bit top-heavy because of School Bus's experience, but we cannot count out Team Yato from China, and also Roulette, who is the #2 seed coming from America, from the North America region. They did win Season 4, and so they had a bit of a struggle in Season 5, and now they're back with a vengeance, hopefully with some roster additions and changes as well. Group B, we have Arete and Kazna Kru, which will be our first match today, along with Hellraisers. Now, Hellraisers used to be Unity, correct?
Yep, Hellraisers used to be Unity until the Anatolich and Rhino went to Navi. After that, they got a few members from Mind and they renamed to Hellraisers. They looked really good throughout the season online. They were probably one of the best teams. Although at the LAN, they seemed shaky and stressful, but I hope they come over that and perform at the Grand Finals at the level we're used to from them.
Group C, not as sincere. Navi, can they defend the title once again? We've seen changes from 7x42 to 7x54 for this year. Mikhailo, your thoughts on Navi?
Well, their name itself means born to conquer. They're definitely not going to settle with second place.
No.
They struggled a bit during this season, but I think they're still got their game and they might do it. They'll be, though, very challenged by a lot of teams here. This will be the toughest competition ever so far.
I believe you're correct in that regard, especially because of the format change with 7x54. And it has really accelerated the action in World of Tanks. Group D, Elevate Black, Virtus Pro, and we play Santa Claus 6. Virtus Pro, second place last year. Elevate Black is quite a story coming from North America, formerly called Bernal Empires. At Rumble in the West, didn't do so hot against European teams. But after a rocky start in Season 5 for North America, they started to gain the momentum they needed to carry the championship torch all the way to the end of Season 5. I feel that they're in a really good spot to compete against these European, CIS, and Asia-Pacific teams. I'm looking forward to how they're going to perform today.
That's one of the hardest groups, definitely. Virtus, former champion. SC6 that almost beat Navi in the Russian finals, and Americans #1. That will be hell to watch.
I wouldn't count them out, though. I wouldn't count them out for the fact that maybe Virtus and VPSC6 will be underestimating them. They're an American team. They don't have much respect for them. It could affect them the score. We don't know. Elevate could really surprise us.
And America has to earn that respect because last year, losing to PvP Super Friends was a big blow to America, but they came back, they trained hard, they have been training hard throughout all the major seasons in between the finals last year and this year. We're all looking for a better performance from America here at this tournament. And we're looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on social media as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule, as our first matchup will be Arete versus Kazna Kru. And I know that is going to be an action-packed series because these are 2 teams that have some history, and with that history, Arete has beaten Kazna Kru in the past. So this is something that Kazna Kru cannot take lightly. They cannot underestimate the team from Korea. RG Razor versus EL Gaming will be game number 2. School Bus versus Yato Gaming will be game number 3. Navi versus RG Razor, our 4th game of the day. Hellraisers versus Kazna Kru. And then the end for the main stage for today will be Elevate versus Virtus Pro. And that is going to be the gauntlet for Elevate. Can they go toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in Europe? It's going to be a huge gut check for America once again at this event. And also probably the same for Korea, or the Asian Pacific teams and China as well. We don't get to see a lot of games from China. And a lot of people are wondering, how are they going to perform against these teams that have proven themselves over and over again in international tournaments?
It's really, well, we don't have much footage on them. Well, the good thing for the Chinese teams is they have so much to look at from the European League, the Russian League, the American League. They don't have so many teams to practice against, but they can study. They can... And I'm really looking forward. I really hope they perform, really.
I do too as well. Ola, a lot of people are going to be chiming in on social media, so which hashtag should they be using for this weekend?
Yes, that's right. If people want to vote for their teams and win some prizes, they can first go to thegrandfinals.com and then cast their votes and then share it with the hashtag #thegrandfinals. And they will actually have a chance to win first an exclusive premium tank designed specially by Wargaming League. Or also at our Facebook page, they can also use the app Team Vote, and then they can also cast their vote for their favorite team. And as a result, they will get the bonus codes and, well, something else. I think that's going to be the Razor item.
So as long as they vote, they're entered into winning something randomly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the winner will be chosen randomly, but anyway, there's also a lot of chances to win something. So just be active and have fun.
And O's going to be checking in on social media every time we jump into one of these matches to see who's voting the most for these players, where a lot of that support is coming from around the world for these international teams. So get on those social media pages and use that hashtag the Grand Finals, because we're looking forward to see what people have to say during this tournament. And I'm looking forward to this first matchup of Arete versus Kazna Kru. And it's time to introduce these teams over to the main stage.
Thank you very much, Joshua, and the gang on the analysis desk. It is time for our first match, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to make plenty of noise for our 2 teams. Our first team are a team who are already champions in their own right, 3 times in a row in the APAC region of WGL. Please make some noise for Arete! Okay, so unfortunately we brought out Kazna Kru there. You might have noticed that was Kazna Kru that came out first this time round. Little mistake. I think we got away with it though. But now we do have the 3-time WGL APAC champions, Arete!
All right, folks, there you have it. Kazna Kru already making a statement, going out first in front of Arete, trying to steal their thunder. These guys have a little bit of blood in between them, and I think they're going to try to settle that score today on this stage. Arete is a team that we got to watch last year. They took 7th place at the Grand Finals last year. A great performance coming from them from South Korea. And now in the Asia Pacific World, Season 5 champions, definitely riding a high so far. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at Arete.
Definitely, all the teams are very strong, but our biggest rival is Elon from Asia. We have a big confidence because many people thought our team is underdog, and so we don't have any pressure, and so this is our big advantage and aspect of good. Definitely, our goal is to take this winner for in this grand final. But first of all, we have to pass the group stage tomorrow. Yeah. Arete! Arete!
And there you have it, step by step. This team has the aggression, but can they become too predictable? Sometimes these teams have some issues with that type of aggression, depending on the map, depending on attacking or defending. But overall, Arete has been impressive coming from the Asia-Pacific region. Do they have what it takes to beat Kazna Kru is the question we're going to answer today. Your thoughts on that?
Arete are definitely uncontested champion of their own region. They met Kazna, they know to implement new tactics. They surprised them on VCA completely by use of RU251s once they were introduced. So they are smart, they like to experiment, they play organized, plan attacks, like to control the map, and this will be a mind game between them in a moment.
That type of map control can really go to that blitz type play or the patient type play, and I feel that for the first match of this tournament, both these teams are going to play a little bit patient. If they don't, that type of surprise may work in their favor.
I mean, Arete might bring something surprising. It would be a good idea for them. First game, first round, let's do something from the Chinese region, something unpredictable, some lineup that we don't see much, where Kazna has to actually think what's going to happen, how can we counter this, and just play with their minds a little bit, because that's really important, how they get into Kazna's mind.
Those mind games at the beginning of any tournament is very important, or for any match rather, but especially for the first game of the day. A lot of nerves and a lot of tension for everybody involved. Kazna Kru has been on many stages though, and they've performed very well at LAN tournaments. Let's take a closer look at Kazna Kru.
Kazna Kru is aggressive, passionate, strong. We're not scared of any team. There are some good teams that are now playing in the Grand Finals, which any team would like to avoid or play in later stages.
When we play aggressive, we usually have success, which was also shown in the last regional finals, and that's why I think the aggressive playstyle suits us really well.
Primarily to qualify to second day of the tournament and then eventually reach some place that gets you silverware or gets you at the podium. So I guess, yeah, the goal could be to win the whole thing, but one step at a time.
I was playing here last year in the Grand Finals, and the atmosphere in the event was one of the best in my life, and I hope it's gonna be even better now.
Why should people cheer for us? Because we are the best European team and people want to see how the Russians get defeated.
We are Kazna Kru and we're gonna punish you.
Punish indeed, but we'll find out. Haiba quoting him the step-by-step process. Each of these teams have to think about the first battle, the first map. And also that unpredictable type of play that we see from the Asian teams, that is kind of the mock-up of Arete. But Kazna Kru has dealt with them before. Do they have what it takes to deal with them again?
I think they're far more prepared now. They're at the top of their game. They just took the season. They have wins in their back. Also, I think they have better sparring partners, tougher matches they played. They seasoned during this last season 5. And I think they will be hard to stop. They really want this.
Looking at the stats of both teams in their matchup, it is incredible to see, honestly, the amount of time that has gone over for World of Tanks and for each of these teams to have the number of stats, the number of personality, the amount of attack or defense type engagements. In America, we're seeing a lot more aggression coming from teams. We're seeing a lot faster moving takes, such as the RU-251. And Arete used the RU-251 back in 7x42 when the tank was first released. And Kazna Kru didn't know how to deal with that. And so once you kind of lose that special surprise card, that card in your back pocket by using those tanks, you have to go back to the fundamentals, the team fundamentals, the working as a team, coordinating as a team, knowing the step-by-step process that Haiba said. And I feel that Kazna Kru really has that locked down. And Arete, even though it works for them in the Asia-Pacific scene, this is going to be a tough battle for them.
I think Kazna redrew their tactics completely.
Yeah.
They are playing aggressive to get their positions. They are strong in counterattacks, focus fire, really good individual play. They will be a really tough team to stop now.
Take a look at the versus card for both those teams as well. The lineups, I mean, Kalfith returning again, top performer. Alien from Kazna Kru, one of the top performers. They have a lot of superstars on both teams. We do see some superstars sometimes, and at least during the seasons, take a little bit too much credit or not cohesively work together as a team. I don't feel any of these teams are going through that now because they made it to these finals.
No, Kalfith is a captain. I wouldn't say he's like top damage dealer for them, but he's the guy who kept the team together since the grand final through all the victories, changes in the roster. So he definitely knows how to keep them in the game all the time.
We're going to check in with our admin as soon as we have the map choices and finding out who's attacking or defending first in those different map choices. But I want to talk a little bit more about the RU-251. This is a tank that really kind of changed the game for its speed and for not necessarily its durability, but how quickly it can get into an engagement. Will we see that tank multiple times today?
We will see RUs, we will see a lot of T-54s and RUs. The RU, a lot of teams still like to use it because it has a good gun depression, it's really quick, and it's sometimes a better sniper than a T-54. When it was introduced, people didn't know what to do with it first. First it was one, then it was two, and eventually sometimes used five of them. It really shook up the meta a lot because 3090s became less useful, and the RU was just the new tank to go to.
They became the main battle tank, but 54 definitely replaced them now.
Yeah.
Now RU is more support than main.
See some stats for some of the top players from Kazna Kru and Arete. Trying to reinvent yourself before a finals is a difficult process for any of these teams. Different strategies, different maps, different map choices, attacking or defending. There's a lot of variables that are in World of Tanks here in the Esports League. But how do you stick to your guns? How do you play your game rather than try to overthink the opponent, rather than try to over-strategize what they're going to do? What do you focus on the most when you prepare for one of these tournaments?
You focus on playing your own game. You don't, if you want to play your own game, you have to be the team that makes the move. If you're going to play the reactive style, then you have to allow the enemy to get into positions. If you want to take the game and you want to decide what's going to do, then you play aggressive. You take the positions you want to and you make them come to you.
Well, Murovanka is going to be the first map, followed by Prokhorovka, and then finally Himmelsdorf. So Murovanka is a bit more of that open playing field. Prokhorovka the same, a lot more history on Prokhorovka since Murovanka was added in the previous season. Himmelsdorf, however, is the final map, the tiebreaker possible map. We've seen a lot more heavy tanks on that map, not a lot of RU-251s. I definitely feel we're going to see RU-251s in the first matchup of Murovanka. Artillery has been an up-in-the-air question over the seasons, however. We didn't see it for a long time. In America, we're seeing a little bit of a return from artillery. Will we see artillery appear at all in this tournament?
We might do. We have School Bus and Kazna. Kazna, Eurofish, is actually a really good RT player. I know in practice they've tried to play with RT, so maybe they will try and bring him in an artillery piece, but we also have Arklitz, who is amazing in the M44. So I think we will see a few RTs, and maybe, like you said, from the American teams. I know Elevate and Roulette like to play on steps, for example.
Yeah,
with the RT.
definitely on steps. Definitely on steps is one of the top map choices when it comes to RT because of the valley over in the east, the rocks over in the west, and how teams are able to try to corner their opponent with that artillery and punish like those T-32s that are in that hold down mode to hold those areas. And Ola, I'm sure this weekend we're going to see a lot of people clamoring online to see a lot of RT. So we have to keep count and see how many RT choices are happening throughout the weekend. Maybe some people can throw out some predictions and use that hashtag the Grand Finals and see if somebody gets close. But I'm enjoying seeing that strategy return to World of Tanks.
That's right. And also I have an announcement that 10 best tweets of the day will get a bonus code with the hashtag the Grand Finals. So use your imagination, show your passion for gaming and being a fan, and who knows what will happen.
So top 10 tweets for today or throughout the whole weekend?
For today.
For today?
Yeah.
Wow, and you get to choose those?
I don't know, someone will choose it for me.
All right. Well, maybe take a look over and see if we got some really creative ones out there. I'm looking forward to hear from a lot of people from North America. A little bit early over there. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, but later on in the day, I'm sure we'll get the American audience.
Oh, they will catch up.
Yeah,
they will have a chance.
Oh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our first matchup of Kazna Kru versus Arete. Let's throw it on over to the commentators.
Thank you so much, Clutch, and the desk there, brilliantly breaking down what we're going to be getting into. Obviously, Paul and Victor on the stage earlier on, really setting up today's event. But let's start looking closely at the first game and essentially the first map, because Murovanka, it's got a couple of question marks around Kazna's performance on it. Arete, a very aggressive team, has the ability there. So take me into what your thoughts are with Kazna in this one, because it's got a couple of choices there I think they could have made.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky map to play full stop. Of course, a lot of people say the defensive side is a little bit easier, but I think if we look back before Season 5 of the WGLU, Kazna Kru are pretty shaky in Murovanka.
They are.
Things have changed since then. They have more confidence. If you do remember, they actually managed to beat Virtus Pro on Murovanka, or at least take a couple of rounds against them. So they kind of practiced this map. They got a little bit more confidence on it.
Yep.
And I think we can see a pretty strong performance from them all around on this map. But it's the first map of the Grand Finals on day one. So I think everyone's going to be a little bit shaky. I mean, I'm hella nervous. And that opening ceremony was incredible. But Arete, I'm not sure. It's obviously a team from APAC, first seeded, but they're quite hard to predict.
Well, predictions aside, thoughts aside, theory crafting aside, it's time to turn our attention to map number 1, guys. Roll it.
Murovanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and also from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team usually attempts to distract the attention of the defenders by trying to capture the second base, whilst their main forces wait near the third line and behind the buildings. Usually both teams use fast and low-profile light tanks, but sometimes they can bring heavy tanks and SPGs.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. That map is going to define the start of this tournament. And really, the road for Kazna going forward. Will it all come together? Will they get a step towards that beautiful, beautiful trophy? Or will this be the rocky start? It could certainly happen. Arete stand in their way very early on in these group stages, and they're certainly a tough opponent.
They're an opponent which Kazna Kru could underestimate. Is there an opponent which a lot of teams have underestimated before in the past? Just looking back at the Season 3 of the APAC region, I think EL Gaming went into that finals with a lot of confidence without, they haven't lost a single online group stage match, but they came in and they looked a lot better. Let's see if they can perform a similar kind of story here.
And the thing I put my mind back to is how Kazna started in those offline finals of the WGL EU. Shaky first game, dropped to the lowest, fought hard, fought like Kazna do, to the finals where they picked it up. Will it be a similar story here? Will they have that rocky start? Will this be something that's going to test them pretty darn hard? I've got to say, I think it will be. Arete, last time I remember speaking to them in their previous roster form after the Grand Finals last time around, and they were gutted. They felt they made mistakes. They didn't get to play their game. This is their time now. They have to show that it wasn't a fluke they won this many championships. They deserve to be here. And well, we're going to find out very soon. You can see on your screens there the focus. The attention is drilled to the screens. Hyber, just outside, having a chat with his team. I heard him saying, step by step, we are not looking towards the next game. We're not looking towards day 2. We're looking right here, right now. First game, first map, and it's Murovanka. If you're going to put a prediction to it, just Murovanka alone, what would you say?
I think it could possibly be 2-2. Both teams picking up the defensive side. I'm not sure how it's going to go into Prokhorovka, a lot more unpredictable, but I think for Kazna Kru, they need to do exactly that. They need to take it step by step. Arete, they're unpredictable, they're aggressive, they play a style which is not similar to the Wargaming League Europe meta, and not similar to the Russian meta either. So Kazna Kru is an uphill struggle for sure. And I think it's a really important point to make. The group stages are often underestimated. They're actually probably the hardest part of the tournament. especially the first match, because you can get rolling into the rest of the tournament pretty easily. You can get warmed up. You're not so afraid of the other teams. So I think it's really important to highlight that Kazna Kru and Arete have the hardest match of the day by far.
They certainly do. It's going to be a tough one. These two teams need to be ready, need to be focused, have to be so secure in the way they're going to play to just start their day off. What a way to begin as well. Looking over at Arete, they do have a 100% win ratio on the attacking side of this map. They are that aggressive team. That's what I'm looking out for. If they can pick up one of those attacking sides, this will be astounding. And we are live into the game, ladies and gents. Kazna will be starting off on the attacking side. Arete will be on the defense. And this looks like it's going to be aggressive as hell.
Those T-54 lightweights are real. 6 aside coming out, and of course the final tank being a tier 6. 754, of course, 2 tier 7s, 5 tier 8s, or 1 tier 6 and 6 tier 8s. They've gone for that latter option, and I think maybe a better one. We mentioned before that the T-54 would be featured a lot, and it indeed is being picked quite extensively. Now, I think Kazna Kru, they need to play a little bit passive at the beginning. Don't go super aggressive, get a little bit information. It's very, very hard to attack on this map, you've got to remember.
It certainly is. They look like they're going for the Eastern approach, no real surprise. It's something they've certainly done on occasion. The 1-2 line play, a little bit tricky at times, and for the first round, you want to try and keep it within as much grasp as possible. So, as you see, they are being quite decisive about this. Kazna certainly have something in mind.
Well, the interesting thing is that Kazna's playing the T-37, not the 59-16, so clearly they want to be mobile. If they're the 59-16, maybe they would try and go for the spots, and maybe that T-37's got a great DPM as well, so they're going for that damage game. Now, first play's down to the south, but you can see those tanks in the Magic Forest kind of spreading out, so I think they're trying to set up for a pincer here. Come from 2 angles, catch one of the tanks out from Arete. Kazna Kru like to play aggressive, they like to play around the map,
but look
and
at this
Arete does as well.
They're going to be making a move of their own here, Arete. They don't want to sit back passively. Already Calthy did take a shell then, so maybe this is their response. What do you read into it?
Well, I think they just don't want to be too static. They don't want to let Kazna Kru get the positions. We said that the team that makes the first plays and forces the other team to come to them would be the one that potentially could win this whole thing. A couple of shells do come out of Gimp, and this is a great first move from Arete. It does give Kazna Kru that southern map, though.
It certainly does, and you can see what that entails. It does give the option for that eastern side cap, which they're going for. But already kind of rotating around the north, going to start looking for a way in. They've got time here. There's not too much of a rush just yet. 80 seconds still. And Elian already being half HP is certainly some big damage coming through, but Vetso might be in trouble, or he might just get that vital information.
Kazna Kru want to try and flank around Vetso. It should just be about Snave. He's going to take a shell on the side as the aggressive move from Arete. It's put them in a little bit of an awkward situation. They have to try and get towards some cover. Yeah, they got a few buildings, but you'll see Kazna Kru try and surround them and take them down.
Already Kazna are down just below 7k though. They are starting to take a lot of damage here, and Ruster and Elian, the 2 superstars, taking the most of the flak this time. Finally, Bieber gets a little bit back, but it's not much, and actually Kazna might be walking into a bit of a setup trap here. Arete are well positioned. They're waiting this one out. The cap is still continuing though, waiting for further damage to come through. No team wants to rush this. Down in the south, that T-37 and that 59-16 just going to be waiting each other out for that cap to become more relevant. However, at the moment, let's kind of throw our minds back to what we just saw then. That small skirmish, that small engagement, it looks like Arete actually came out slightly on top there.
Definitely, they got a good position. They managed to do some good initial damage, and now they managed to get behind covers. The decap does come out. Pilauda's going to try and scamper out there in the T-37, but even fall in that 59-16 does drop awfully low. He's got to be careful, try and stay safe and get unspotted.
Yeah, sacrificing a lot of HP then, but he will go down. Vetso claiming the first kill here in the Grand Finals. However, that's not a big blow really to Arete just yet. It will limit their options towards stopping that cap though and keeping tabs on where Kazna Kru are going. But put yourself in Kazna's shoes now. Where do you take yourselves? You have a small advantage to work with.
It's actually quite a big advantage because that 59-16 is basically for the southern cap. Evenfall had to try and get the decap to take the pressure of Arete, but he went a little bit early. Now Kazna has the option to put the T-37 there. They got the 2 T-54s very close by. They can just drop down on that cap whenever they want and really start to tick it down. Arete has to be careful, and if they do go forwards, they have to commit 100%, and that's where this match will be won and lost. You can see those stacks of T-54s towards G3, G4 area. They'll just go straight in towards that village area and head down to the T-37.
They're so overmatched
but the Kazna setup is really good to take this out.
This is huge as well. They are overmatched 4-2. Surely they can't even get out of this. Bieber takes another, but it's to the left. Shio Papo, I believe, up with him there. Going to make a little bit of damage back, but I don't think he's going to get out of this. Vetso does find Shio Papo, and this is the damage coming in, being caught out on the flank here. Arete in trouble. Bieber goes down. Elian claims it, and that's a huge advantage back in Kazna's hands. Now looking for blood. They're starting to head towards the south. And well, let's see if they can withstand. The counter move from Arete begins. Paluda will be the first on the chopping board. Paluda finds Kalthif. It's looking like it's going to be Kazna to pick up the first round here. 3 tanks remain. And well, the Koreans are struggling in this one. Christina finds Paluda, but can they work any more? Kim, no! Healthy Nexus! Beautifully delivered as RT1 and Christina, the last 2 standing, looking like being hunted down, trying to cower away into the forest. Not going to have much luck here. Both being spotted, both being barreled down on by Kazna, looking to prove a point here. And the pack of wolves are encroaching. 1 minute and 30 seconds left in this one. Eurofish has taken down RT World. It's all on Christina. He can do so little in this situation. There's so much against him here, and he knows it. Trying to make some work happen, but he knows this is done and dusted. And there we have it. Kazna pick up round 1.
Solid all-round performance from Kazna Kru. They seem like a team that's confident. They managed to predict the mistake from Arete. They forced them into an awkward position. It was all won and lost when that 59-16 of even fall. A very solid player for Arete had to get out to stop Pilauda in that T-37 in the cap. And Kazna Kru, great positioning up north in towards the Magic Forest. They managed to catch Arete on the rotate. He wanted to obviously stop the cap and then go forwards from there.
It was great. If we break it down step by step almost, that first initial skirmish almost went in Arete's favor. They kept, the good amount of HP. They found out a lot of information. But then Kazna took control again. And I think that's a very good sign for Kazna. Looking like they're calm and they can make these responsive and reactive calls. Catching them on the rotate then, that 4-2 overmatch they claimed up towards the north, just to find the rest of it, and then they just collapsed on the rest. It was just beautifully done.
You've got to remember that Arete likes that map control. They like to spread their tanks around the map. They like to have more than one option. And that's exactly what Kazna Kru just capitalized on. Yes, the initial damage went towards Arete, definitely. It was really good play from them. Kind of making sure Kazna Kru can't bully them around the map, but it wasn't critical. Kazna kept their tanks together, went forwards and took out the spread tanks from Arete, and it just went from bad to worse for that team there. So first attacking round does go towards the European wildcard team, of course, Kazna Kru. So a nice solid performance. That's obviously the hardest round for both teams out the way. I think we're going to get a few more interesting rounds from here on out.
And just in case people are new and viewing this, can we explain the game mode just a touch here? So it was the first round on attack that they won. Sure,
yeah. So obviously Arete is defending first. Kazna Kru are attacking. So as an attacker, you have 2 bases. You can potentially get with the same kind of capping mechanics, except it's 120, not 100 seconds cap with 1 tank in there. And the basic objective is for the defenders to either destroy all the enemy team's attackers or make that timer of 7 minutes go down to 0, and the attackers obviously cap one of those 2 bases or kill all the other enemy's team's tanks. So it's very simple, just simple cap and defense mechanics we've seen a lot before, and it just simply works. And it's really a game of prediction and being aggressive and kind of having all those elements put together. And you've got to remember as well, there's not a single useless tank in these lineups. Not a single one. You saw then, even falling at 59-16, he went down, and that pretty much lost the round for them, for Arete. So you can't count out a single player like you could do in, for instance, M42.
Exactly, everything matters now, and there is still 3 rounds to be played on this map, so it's certainly not over for a long time yet. Arete have a chance now to maybe consider things going into the next round, but I feel as though they just need to calm down, start playing this their own way. A little bit of overzealous play maybe from Evenfor, overextending a little, I think you pointed out. He took a little bit too much damage for not enough of a gain for himself, so maybe something he just needs to work on, obviously, something he needs to keep in mind. So guys, map video coming up now. We will be looking once again at Murovanka. So, nothing too much to be looking towards just yet, but it's all about calming those initial nerves here. Kazna, a team we can expect to go far into this tournament, need to win just about everything coming up in front of them to really make a good impression here, because let's be honest, every other team's attention is on them.
Everyone's looking at Kazna Kru to be a top performing team here. I think a top 4, top 3 placing wouldn't be a miss. I mean, you've got to win the WGLU to be where Kazna is now.
Correct.
A massive performance, and they've been around the scene for a long time, pretty much since day one. So a huge team and definitely one of the bigger names in that 12-team lineup. So you mentioned the first few group stages. Obviously, the first 2 teams from each group will be progressing into day 2. So for me, I think obviously you need to be winning at least 1 match to get yourself into day 2. 2 matches would be great. And if 2 teams are on the same amount of points, we have some rules. For instance, look at the head-to-head to go into the next one.
Speaking of head-to-head, there are the players on the screen. Kazna and Arete once again. They will be on the same sides. So, Kazna still on the attack here in the red, starting off in the north. In the south, in blue, it's Arete trying to lock them down this time. The big question is, can they do it? What are we looking at so far here?
So we're looking at a pretty similar start for Kazna Kru. In fact, it's exactly the same, heading down south. Arete also starting the same here with that 59-16 going right. Now, the question is, does Arete change things up? I think they might go for the same thing twice, like go up north to the C3 area and try and be aggressive against Kazna Kru. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't go for this a completely different tactic. For instance, just go all the way towards the right side. They knew Kazna Kru was there and try and catch them out with something unpredictable. That's the Arete we know and love.
And I kind of want to see that. I hope they don't change their game style, that if they're too nervous or if it gets in their heads, if they start being outgamed. Although good information being found out here. Actually, a lot of tanks for Kazna Kru being lit up. LD Nexus, Eurofish, and Vetso. So a good bit of information gathered. Arete should be able to work with that to a degree, but Ruster getting himself into a position that we know he can do a lot of damage from.
It's a great position. He's hauled down that T54 lightweight, so pretty good from him. Elian, star player from Kazna Kru, a formidable player. You might remember from 2014 Grand Finals. He did some pretty fantastic work there as well. 10,042 damage per match, and the actual winner for Kazna Kru at the WG Season 5 Finals. He's a man you have to look out for.
And I hope everyone's attention is on them. This looks like a split up move, though, from Arete. They kind of did this as a response last time. It looks like they're doing it to be proactive this time.
Yeah, they as I said, they wanted to go up north. They want to keep things interesting. Ruster does get the better of Evanfall, and that will be the attention for Kazna Kru to take him down. Good dupe from them. They went up north a little bit, and they stay down south now in towards the buildings on the right side. That southern cap is clearly where they want to go. I mean, we've seen on Murovanka attack a lot of one-line pushes, a lot of failed one-line pushes, and obviously the teams want to kind of change things up. It's a little bit like Himmelsdorf in that respect. Both caps are viable, but with a little bit more preparation and hard work, you can actually kind of bring a favorite cap for your team.
Yeah, and we see Kazna looking like they've done that. You can tell they've prepared a hell of a lot for this event. Coming into this wasn't probably their favorable map choice back in the online phase of this, but that time in between has been working. They've said they put in more hard work coming into this than ever before. So certainly something you've got to look towards is how much have they improved here and how much have they changed. And looking at this, actually, Evenfall could be in trouble, and he is. Vetso takes him down. It's a 1-for-1 exchange, but was that worth it?
I think it was. I mean, Evenfall is such a key player. Now, you'll see Kazna Kru immediately react that you actually got some tanks going up north. Eurofish and Hyber, though, scouting around the cap, doesn't allow Kazna Kru to go for it like they did last time where they put the T-37 in there, but Hyber's simply going to be taking that point. The team captain, the brains behind Kazna Kru, one of the most experienced team captains in the world, is going to be taking that responsibility for his team and giving his team a good overview on how the map is playing out, how the teams are playing out. Now, Kazna look a little bit indecisive, though.
They do a little bit. They're up in the north, and Arete's going down to the south. I don't know if they've expected Arete to commit through that eastern side forest, maybe make a play they did before, but Arete have gone, screw that, we're going down south, we're going to stop this cap, or just try an overmatch, maybe. This could really maybe hurt Kazna if they've overthought this.
The thing is, you see those tanks spotted. You see Shia Papa, Christina Gimp spotted. That's given Kazna Kru a great amount of information. They know that Arete probably will push down into the south, but the thing is, if they do, they might just take down Hyber, and that'll be a 2-for-1 exchange and a T-54, a tier 8 tank out of the game. But Kalthi, the team captain for Arete, doesn't look like he wants to hang around. He's going to push in on his own.
He's going to have to, because look what's coming from the north. Kazna have done a full rotate here. They're going to be engaging as much as they can do. Kalthi went for Hyber, but he knows it's a trap now. He has to turn his attention around. He has to support the rest of his team, who are taking a bit of a beating. Shio Papa already taken down to 730 HP, not ideal at all, and Kazna start to make a bit of a play here. Kalthi, you can see desperately trying to find a position to assist his teammates. And here we go, the battle does begin. Eurofish gets one, backs out, and Arete starts to commit, but they're in pretty much an awful spot here, actually. They're taking a lot of damage and not giving much back. Shio Papa is down to nothing. One shot, and he will be out of this one. Good work coming back in from Christina, though. Finally getting some good damage done. Going to be attempting to get in towards Eurofish. So aggressive. Christina going straight in for LV Nexus. This is not over. Arete are fighting this one out, and they might just do some damage. Hyper pushing off, turning around. Finally, Christina does get taken down, but this is unreal play coming out from Arete. They're throwing everything they can at Kazna, who are holding on by an absolute thin margin. But look at this, sheer aggression coming through, but Kazna locking it down. 2 remain, Artiwan and Bieber once again, the last 2 standing. And on the knife's edge, Kazna turned the hell up, and Bieber is left to die. He can be made into scrap metal here, as Hyber surely to deliver the finals. Elian to claim it. 2 attacking rounds. Kazna are showing what they're made of. This is a great start for those boys.
Fantastic forward momentum from Arete, but you could see the steely resolve of Kazna Kru coming into its own. They didn't buckle under pressure. There were some very questionable, some very shaky moments for Kazna Kru there, but they managed to stay safe. They still had Hyber in the T54 lightweight, who managed to get into that fight just about in time to save his team. And once he was there, they could kind of pin down and finish those last tanks of Arete off. But I like that aggressive play from Arete. I thought they did very well to go forwards, dictate the pace of the battle, make that forward momentum work for them, pick their targets, get the focus fire right. But those buildings definitely didn't help them out, and Kazna Kru just managed to get the favor and hit points and play it through. Very, very good individual play from them. Solid 2-round attacking wins now.
So now that's done, they'll be switching sides. So Kazna now will be on the defense, and Arete will be on the attack. Now, normally, I don't know what I make of Murovanka anymore. I don't know if it's an attack or a defense bias map half the time when I get to watch these guys. Half the time you see defending teams completely trashed if a team's aggressive and takes the initiative, and I'm kind of thinking we might see that here. I'm a little bit worried, though, because Arete's not really been performing up to the par that I'd hoped, and losing 2 defending rounds, that's not the start they'd want.
It certainly isn't. It just gives you an idea of the way both teams are kind of playing and approaching this. Arete were pretty aggressive in both rounds. The first one they got caught out because Kazna Kru was just ready and waiting for them. As the analysis desk mentioned, this is a grudge match. If you look at the result in October 2014 when they played WCA against each other, and Kazna got kind of trounced with that 2-5-1 stack. So Kazna's being very careful of that aggression. They're not getting caught out by that full-on charge, which we saw back in 2014. So just keeping it cool, calm and collected. But I think Kazna might have had a different result if they played straight into Arete's defensive lineup. If Arete had stayed a little bit more towards that northern part of the map or the western part of the map, I think it could have been a different story. But Kazna kept the pressure on, and that was enough to force the hand from Arete.
Well, let's see how it affects the team. Last time Arete said that they felt so overwhelmed by it almost. They were locked out of the game so early on in their previous Grand Finals debut, should I say. But now, they need to kind of find their own resolve. We've seen Kazna now pushed pretty darn hard 2 times on their attack. They looked a little shaky in the first, but then they won out very cleanly. Second time, the engagement got close, but then, as you said, that steely resolve came into practice, and Kazna just leapt forward. So now we need to say the same from Arete. They've been pushed quite some way. They've been tested by Kazna. Can they push back? We have to wait and find out. Teams just composing themselves, discussing those final tactics, and making sure everything is prepared. These guys have been training since the very end of the regular season towards this moment. They know how much this means. And I'm curious to see how far Kazna can take it now.
Well, they look good. I think those initial fears we had at the beginning have kind of been answered.
Yes.
We talked about how Kazna Kru could be nervous, how the unpredictable style of Arete could get the best of them. But then again, you got to look at it like this. Arete always thrive in chaos. They always thrive when they're being aggressive, and this is where they could be doing well on the attacking side of the map when they do go and change in the next couple of rounds, and also in Prokhorovka, which is of course our next map. So kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about Arete. Not necessarily the best team when it comes to static lineups. They're not particularly good at Himmelsdorf, nor a Kazna Kru, but they're at least good enough to be able to kind of play that standard kind of meta we see from some of the Russian teams and some of the European teams.
Oh, certainly. And I think this is going to be very defining for Arete now. Their chance on the attacking side, it has to be on point. They have to live up to that reputation that people have given as that aggressive team, that team that can work and thrive in chaos. They have to find that form here. Otherwise, it's going to be a very quick game. You can see they're already getting themselves ready. 20 seconds on that timer. So moments from now, we'll find out how good Kazna are really and how much Arete can bring. It's all down to Arete now to step up to the plate, to the marker that Kazna just chiseled into those last two games. If you're going to give a prediction, what scoreline are you saying now we've seen at least a good glimpse of this?
I want to see if Arete is good attacking. I think they will be. I think 3-1 is realistic, of course, in favor of Kazna Kru going into our next map. But I really want to wait until this first couple of minutes of Arete on the attack is over to really make a solid prediction of how this whole match, indeed, or the next couple of rounds will go down for both teams.
Well, here we go. We are underway in round number 3. Kazna now on the defense. Arete on the attack. They now need to step up. Well, Kazna will run away with this one. And here we go. Looking at these lineups, what do we make of this?
Well, we've got a pretty interesting lineup from Kazna Kru. They've gone for the AMX-12T, not a tank we've actually seen featured on Murovanka, only on Himmelsdorf. Of course, very small, great camo value, and Evenfall gets caught out in that Bulldog very early on. You can see the stack from Kazna Kru is pretty insane, expecting that aggressive push from Arete.
And well, here it is. Evenfall's already caught out one. That's, I believe, Hyber being taken down by Bieber, going in for the ram in the end. So claiming a good early advantage and only losing out on a little bit of HP of Evenfall. So we are seeing that aggressive play, and it's seemingly quite well-rounded.
That was very nice from Arete. They saw that Hyber was on his own, then they took him down very quickly. Cap's now underway, but quite a big mistake there from Evenfall. Does get caught out by LD Nexus. A good crossfire situation for Kazna Kru now. We have to see what the reaction is like from the wildcard team. They're kind of heading around. Arete's got the cards firmly in their hands, though. They got the cap under the way, they got the pressure there. They just need to get the setup correct, so when Kazna does go and try and reset that cap, they manage to take them down.
Exactly. You can see the fold beginning. You can see the red of the map slowly encroaching towards that western cap point, but actually, they're pushing out. Arete certainly have a plan here, and they're looking to really take this one through. I'm glad it's not one-dimensional for them. They have an extended game plan here, and they might be able to catch out Elian if they're fast enough, and that'd be a great pickup.
Great stuff from Arete. They knew that Kazna would try and get the reset, and now they're just getting out to try and get the overmatch and take down another tier 8.
How much on the cross do they receive, though? This is dangerous. Gimp is in a 1v1 with Elian. That's dangerous as hell. Arete taking it on the cross. Kazna aren't letting them even close. Elian standing tall. Ruster covers him off, takes down Arteworld. Elian challenge on the 1v1. He's going to be dealing with Christina. That Bulldog is going to be ripped to shreds. Elian now 2v1. Eurofish finds Calthief. Kazna from afar, just gifting Elian kill after kill. He's dancing, he's buying time. He's got 1.2k damage. And look at that positioning. Making it hard work. That is stunning work coming in. Elian finally goes down, but look at what he did to those two tanks. Running circles around them. Kazna showing dominance now. Folding in. Eurofish finds Bieber, and it's just 3 alive. Arete showed some class, but it was just pushed to the dirt by Kazna.
It's within those situations when you think a player can't do anything, they step up and show you why they are one of the top players in the world. Fantastic work from Elian, the Polish superstar from Kazna Kru, but the final fold is coming in from Kazna Kru.
Papa does take 2 shells now back to back. Not much coming in. He knows he's in trouble. You can see it all over that face of his. He knows he's got 3 tanks bearing down on him. Papa going to try and find something here. Maybe take one on the way out, but he's going to go down, and just 1 alive now. And there we have it. LD Nexus. It's a 3-0 already. Arete just being outclassed on every single front. That was beautiful from Kazna Kru. I thought, you know what? I think Arete's got this. The way they started playing, they looked decisive. They looked like they had a plan. They had it all in motion. And then that cross, that one point where they tried to get to Elian, Kazna was so ready.
That's the thing. I think that initial play for Arete to go for Elian was the right one. I mean, they could have stayed in that cap, but Kazna Kru's very well versed at getting the reset. You remember when they beat Virtus Pro, they were in exactly the same situation. Yep. They managed to get their reset. So good prediction from Arete. They pushed around, they saw Elian on his own, but Kazna Kru were in the top part of the map, a little bit quicker than Arete predicted, and Kazna Kru don't miss any shells. Managed to do a lot of damage on the cross. Elian holding his own there, 2 versus 1, 3 versus 1, buying his team enough time to make the damage on the cross and also go in, push through that western side of the map to try and get into those close quarter engagements where, of course, the T-54s really excel. So Good play by Kazna. Arete looked a lot better on the attack than it did on the defense. I think that could have gone both ways for sure. But Kazna seemed well versed. They seem to be the ones who are making the plays, and more so the ones that are in the right position at the right times. They're not really the late comers. A lot of teams have the right idea, but they don't execute in time to actually get the win.
Well, a 4-0 on map 1 if it does go down that way. They've still got one more round to play out, guys, so there's still one more go at Murovanka, but it's first to 5. And if you go in with a 4-0 after first map, you know you're in trouble. And I would have said Prokhorovka is probably the better choice for Arete. I can imagine that was their pick in this one. But if you have such a deficit against you, I don't think we'll get to see much of it. They have to get at least a 3-1. At least. Well, you have to see how long it takes them to get that really settled into their heads. And you can tell that, Kazna are starting to feel comfortable. You can see the smiles starting to encroach on their faces. It was deadpan, very serious at the start of today. Now you can see them starting to warm up a little to the crowd, and that's when Kazna become great. When they finally get past that little bit of nerves, when they finally break through that part, and they find their comfort zone, they become a phenomenal team. And that's something we'll be looking out for during this event. You've got to watch their faces. You can see it when it starts working, when the cogs start falling into place. But still, these boys going to make a statement if they do end up going 4-0 on map 1. That is absolutely huge. I can imagine all the other teams are certainly watching this one with bated breath, as is the audience. Well, you can see what they're fighting for right there on the stage. Absolutely beautiful. Here we go, ladies and gents. Final round on map number 1, Murovanka coming up. Kazna Kru looking absolutely focused. Arete know they have to turn up right now. This is do or die time. Going in at 4-0, it's not going to change. So this is massive for them. What can they bring to the play? Arete, it's all on these guys now on the attacking side. And they look like they're switching up.
Yeah, they're going down towards the southern part of the map, just like Kazna Kru, remember, when they were attacking. Kazna's setting up in a pretty standard spot. They don't look like they're going for any aggressive initial play, but they are switching things up a little bit. They are making sure that they're not doing the same thing twice, because that's where a lot of these teams on the caliber of Arete, who of course global ranked second, do pounce on. So let's see what Arete can do. I mean, they've got a pretty decent lineup. Christina playing the Bulldog, so is even full. So I'm not sure if they're actually going to go for the cap. I would have thought 59-16 if they're going to go for that one, but they are kind of going for a similar style to what Kazna did. Now, I think for Arete, they just need to get that information first. The 12T needs to go down. It'll be very hard. I think even 50-meter proxy spot, you'll have a camo net, you'll have a full crew of camouflage, and it's going to be very, very hard to spot. Great tank in those positions, in those situations. So that's what it's going to be out for Arete for the first couple, maybe 3 minutes.
So, there's the timer, but I wonder if Kazna's going to adhere to that. These guys seem to have their own game plan. Here the Arete boys just discussing them through, still talking, still trying to find these spots. Looking for a little bit, trying to find something. Obviously, we get the beauty of the map showing us everything. They get such limited information in comparison. But yet they work it out, yet those shots do come in. And you can see how close those blind shots are. Kalthi there narrowly missing out and receiving a bit of a shell from Elian. Again, just about whizzing past. So a lot more tentative, a lot more slowed down. As you said, all about those early spots, getting that information, trying to find out as much as they can without giving away too much.
Palauda's not in exactly a normal spot, so Arete are blind shooting a few bushes, but of course they get no hint if they hit Palauda. They don't even know Palauda's there necessarily, unless one of them got spotted, so I guess they do now, since that T-54 lightweight towards the right side has been spotted. So they're just making sure that they shoot a few times in each bush. If they hit him good, if he dies, even better for them, but Arete have to try something new. Looks like they're going to come from the top half of the map. You've got the T-54 and J1, very standard place to go. Usually the 251s was more in towards that position, so that's actually going to come down from the south, and I think Kazna Kru knows that Arete are doing something, probably pushing up towards the north, so they want to react and make sure they don't give Arete any kind of map control, any kind of minute to breathe, any kind of situation that they could potentially take a round back for them.
And even for getting very close to finding out a lot of information and a lot of damage, if he's not careful, if he goes any further, certainly Paluda will at least spot him, and as will the rest. And as you can see from his perspective, it looks so clear, the battlefield looks so clean, yet just over that ridge. There's a hell of a lot of tanks, and actually, maybe Christina needs to be more careful. They are starting to make their play from the north. Still discussing, still talking, still trying to find out as much as feasibly possible. And they might just find, is that Hyber actually? They might walk in towards Cow Thief. Is going to be very close by. They're going to start making a play. And actually, it looks like Arete are making that initial move.
Those tanks from the north actually not spotted. Cow Thief just gets spotted, so Kazna Kru really didn't have any idea. I thought they would just go for those Bulldogs straight away, but they are staying patient. They want to make sure they play this one a little bit more standardly, and they're just saying, Arete, okay, you come to us, you make this move. You can see Cow Thief, Biba, and Shio Papa. They just want to head around, maybe take down a Hyber again, who's just crested over and made a shell, so he's of course spotted. You got that T-54 heading up the 1-2 line, who will probably go straight in towards the K area, which would be great, because there's no tank there.
Exactly, room to breathe, but can they make the most of it? Already losing out on Christina, it's not going to be easy. Arete down one man to work with, but still, maybe they can find a way in. Hyber might be the key to this. If he goes down, maybe they can open something up, but the damage they've received if they commit towards him is going to be huge. Still, they head further and further south, still spotting each other out, still knowing, finding every piece of information they can, and finally we see the positioning coming into play. The damage starts to come out. It's Artie World. We've noted him earlier, pushing down that one line. Hyber has to readjust now, and slight map control will be gained by Arete, but not much. Hyber turning attention towards Artie World, wants to actually challenge on this one. Hyber might be caught out here, and I believe he is. Nice work from Shio Papa and Artie World to really create a beautiful crossfire then, but can they find any more? 1 minute and 56 seconds left. They're gonna have to make a play, and look at the one line. We're having a counterplay. It's Ruster and Vetso heading over into a 2v1. Can they get this one done nice and quickly? Gim takes one on the way out, but nothing more to be received. Dangerous play there, but they look confident.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a respite for a second. Kazna Kru have to try and regroup, because it's definitely Arete's game to lose right now as the second tank does fall.
Artiwell going straight in. He's just going to be ignored, rolled past, rolled over, and let's see if he can do anything here. He's in trouble, 2v1. He's got Rasta, he's got Elian, the two superstars facing him down. He gets the tag towards one, but can he follow up? He needs to get, beautiful crossfire. Gib comes in, saves him from this one. But can anyone find Rasta? Kazna finally maybe looking a little weaker. Shot waited to be made. Stunning connection comes out from Artiwell, no question. How good he can work, but Gimp now has to support him. They have to win these battles, because in the background, Ruster's doing the damage. This is not going just their way, and this is going to start hurting.
Great work by Ruster, star player from Kazna Kru, just keeping his team hope alive at the moment, as he does find one of the players from Arete, and Ruster finds a second one. Team captain Cow Thief does go down.
Beautifully worked by Ruster in the end then. A second's difference makes it all, but it's still a 3v3. The HP is a little in Kazna's favor. However, 35 seconds left. Arete must make a play from this. They have to be aggressive, they have to be proactive. And well, LD Nexus is looking formidable, finds Artie World. Chio Papa now does have the chance to do something here. LD Nexus will have shell available, takes away half. Can he find the rest? 20 seconds. Arete, that's all that's left in for this one.
He actually managed to bounce that shell there. A little bit of a mistake from LD Nexus, but he'll have the reload. He does find Shio Papa, who hangs his head in shame, and it just leaves BB and that T-54 lightweight remaining for his team.
And well, he's got 3 tanks to find, 1 second to do it. It's over. Kazna pick it up 4-0. First map going in their favor drastically. What a brilliant start for the Kazna Kru lads.
Round by round, Kazna Kru assimilating Arete and just beating them in every single aspect we can think about. Their tactics were better, their individual play was better, their team play was better, and it definitely showed in that last round where, despite the fact that Arete got a good amount of early damage, they in fact they were 2-0 up in terms of tanks, and also a very questionable play by LD Nexus and Ruster up north. Kind of could have gifted Arete a little bit more of an advantage. They managed to stay cool, play for that time. You could see Euroffish was heading up north. You could see, it was Euroffish heading down south, and LD Nexus heading up north. So just all around, Kazna Kru kept their heads in the game. They knew what they had to do. They knew that they just needed to buy a little bit of time for their team. Arete were a little bit late to the party, and they also got caught out kind of with their pants down in that middle area of the map. So great first map for Kazna Kru, looking very, very strong indeed.
Sadly for Arete, they look very, very broken. You can see that they look sullen, they look like they know they've just been trounced 4-0, and to break it into perspective, these guys had not lost a single attacking round throughout their entire regular season. Arete was strong on that map. They had good stats, they had everything supporting them, but not good enough to take on Kazna. Right now, these guys look like they're in form. Look like the team that, well, we'd expected to come here and really shake things up as that wildcard team, living up to the title. And now, Prokhorovka coming up next. What can we make of this? This is the grudge match as well. It's all down to one round, essentially. This is what happened. This is where Arete managed to beat Kazna at one point. In the old format, bearing in mind, but they managed to beat them. Will it dare to happen again? Surely not.
I hope Kazna Kru have at least learned their lessons from, as you said, previous tournaments. I think Arete has a good chance to take a couple of rounds back on here. I mean, Prokhorovka isn't really a map that favors the attack or defense. It's pretty even. Of course, you'd still prefer to play the defensive side because it's a little bit more logical and you can kind of slow it down a little bit. So we have to see what Arete can pull out of the bag. As you said, 4-0 down. They need to win the next 4 rounds in a row to even have a fighting chance to go to that third map, Himmelsdorf, and potentially win that to, well, take the first match in this group stage. So big plays for Arete. They really need to step up as a team, prove themselves as a worthy contender of the title of seed #1 from the APAC region. But still, Kazna Kru, they really have to slip up, even on Prokhorovka, to lose.
Well, speaking of Prokhorovka, let's turn our attention to that prolific map, if I can use my words. Let's roll that video.
Prokhorovka, one of the first maps in the game. Teams start at the regular spawn points as they do in standard battles. Bases are separated from each other by the railway. The defending team can play through the tree road on the left or through the right flank, occupying the hill and a part of the village. The attacking team usually attacks the first base, but can sometimes try to capture the second base. Usually both teams use light tanks and tanks with sturdy turrets.
Prokhorovka going to be the defining one between these two. The final commands being barked out by Hyber. They're making sure they are focused and they are not going to let this one slip. This is where the grudge match goes down. This is where they make up for that slight mistake they made before and hopefully take that 5-0 for their sake. And that would be very strong to begin with. So, looking at this one, what can we think? What can we theory craft could maybe work for Arete here? What do they need to do to catch out Kazna? Do they need to just be better overall? What are the things we can maybe pluck out from that previous map?
Well, Arete did try and be aggressive. They tried to play their classic style going forwards, kind of making unpredictable plays, but Kazna Kru predicted that unpredictability and they caught them out on every turn. So let's say if Arete throws that to the wind and goes back to a more standard meta, or if they even go further with their aggression and actually try and go for something completely insane, just a push over the middle, straight across into the other team, or go for some strange lineup, maybe pick up an artillery or something similar.
See, and from what I watched last time when they played the previous game mode, they went all 2-5-1s, they went crazy, and it worked. Now, we saw Kazna struggling during that regular season against, I think it was EPS, who did something very similar, who picked up those 2-5-1s, super aggressive, like a pack of wolves, roaming around the map, just looking for pickups one by one. Now, if Arete have the guts to try that, because that will take sheer nerve to try and pull that off, because that's a very gutsy all-in play. Maybe that could be a way back in?
Perhaps, but you've got to remember, EPS weren't necessarily the first teams to do those all-in plays, especially on Prokhorovka, but they did manage to catch Kazna out in that round. But I think Kazna have played that against that tactic enough times to know how to counter it at this point in time. You would hope so. I mean, of course, it's going to be aggressive, and I think Arete definitely has a good chance of at least picking up one round. But that first map was a little bit more